So you just let me just read out my first question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dorai, for taking the time.
Okay.
I've always been inspired by your, what shall I say, unlimited enthusiasm to share your knowledge and ideas with people with
That's more
high
fun, right?
expectations.
Keeping it to yourself, it doesn't get you anything. So,
Yeah, but I am not sure that a lot of people with your level of experience are willing to do that. So that's very inspiring. So this micro product idea, ever since I heard from you in your Thai Chennai lecture, it's taken a hold of me certainly. But now, thanks to your lectures to our team, they have also imbibed this idea.
great. Yep.
As you know, we released one last week into beta test. So today I want to take the audience of this series through sort of the thoughts from the horse's mouth, so to speak, right? So I'd like you to ask this question first. What is the biggest difference? We have all been in product development for a long time, right? As soon as we say product, certain images come into your mind. So from your perspective as the creator of this micro product idea, what do you think is the key difference between regular product and micro product?
Okay. So I'll answer the question. Am I allowed to go back to a little bit of
Yeah, yeah.
history?
Yes,
Okay.
please. It's a free flowing.
About
I will edit
yeah,
it down later.
about 7 or 8 years ago, I read this book called "Start Small, Stay Small." And after my previous startup, we sold it in '96. We were in New York at the time. I moved to California, and then there were about 180 people. And for me, it is too big of a crowd. I said that I was a glorified HR manager, motivator, champion, marketer, product creator, and occasionally butt kicker. That's basically what my role was. And I said, "This is what I want to do in life." And I said, "No, now I have the freedom." We sold the company, we got some money. I thought, okay, I was retired for life, but that was not to be. But I said, okay, what will I do next? I said, I'll start a small company. Like just a couple of us, few people, and nobody needs to manage anybody. That is the goal, first goal, right? So, and that is even before I heard about all these start small, stay small, and all. I always like small for the simple reason that I think different people want different things out of entrepreneurship. Some people want to grow big, to employ a large number of people, a lot of great goals, and some people want to make money, a lot of money, millionaires, billionaires. Some people want, their product to change the world, every type of entrepreneur has a different thing. For me, the inspiration was this company called Peter Norton Computing, about 6 people. At that time, I heard about them. They were about $17 million, but later they sold to just 6 people. No sales, no marketing, nothing. Every one of them is a contributor. Peter Norton used to write books on DOS. His hand, a picture of him,
Famous, yeah.
and they created some outstanding products. They created this disk defragmenter. I know exactly the structure of things on disk and all that. One bit shift in your screwed, the whole disk will get screwed, especially in the directory structures and things like that. So it's a very ultra reliable, and they did it in like probably low level assembly language kind of thing, because C was not even a tool that was like coming up very, very fast at that point in time. And they did extremely well. And then they came out with the Norton utilities. Then they came up with later with virus, Norton antivirus and all that stuff. That took much later. And I look at them and said, hey, here are people deep into the technology. They know every bit of what is going on in the computers. So deep knowledge. They work very hard, and they explain everything that they're doing to a lot of people through books. And they produce products that are insanely popular. I said, "Hey, I can do that. I mean, if I can do that," and I said, "That's good enough for me." Kind of. So, but then what happened is I also moved to California in '97, and I decided to take about a year off and just meet the people in the valley, because I was moving from New York to California. I heard so much about Silicon Valley and all that sort of stuff. So for about 1 year, I didn't really do much. I just met lots of people. Then I registered a company and started with a small product. And I said we picked about 3 products and we built them. And I started bootstrap a company in Chennai, actually registered in Chennai, but in Bangalore. And we started building a few things, and then we finally decided to, ship Informinder for a very strange reason. But so it struck me that sometimes these little products are very useful. And from at that time, it was, I never thought about micro products. The term did not occur to me and all that sort of stuff. Anything micro was banned, because if you have that, Microsoft will come and sue you. So you stayed away from micro. you know. So basically, but the idea of doing something small, it's a small bet. You can fail. You don't lose, your entire fortune. Um, so, and this is even before I read the book Small Bets, which came 10 years later. I like the idea of doing things small. And so you may say, what is the difference between the MVP and doing something? MVP is a small portion of a large project. That's how you think about it. You conceive it as a prototype of a larger project. You want to validate the hypothesis that this market exists, this need exists, this pain point is exactly what we think it is, and this solution is exactly the ones that customers will benefit from. So in the microproducts, it's not like that. We said, hey, I want something useful. I look around, I don't find anything useful. I'm going to build one. I don't care about the market, whatever. Once I build it, there may be a few people which I can test out to see. And so now I don't have to think about the total available market, where is it grow, none of those things.
Big metrics.
I
Yeah.
have a need. I'm going to build something to fulfill my need. Or I have a friend who needs something, and I look around and I don't like any of the solutions that are around. So, okay, I'm going to whip up something and give it to them. It could be a few weeks, it could be a few months, but typically 3 to 6% months should not exceed. And you can build it on weekends. So that is the major difference, right? Is that you are building something to fulfill a very, very, very niche, uh, very clear need. There's no doubt that this need exists. In the case of Infominder, I was doing some research on XML. My previous 2 decades were spent on databases. We built a SQL database engine. We licensed it to a company in the US. So everything was big, right? Like, then we went into the VB market and we sold, to hundreds of thousands. Our products are being used in Democratic National Convention, that kind of stuff. So it's all, and it's a small team still, 5 to 7 of us. But we took years, multiple years to get those products refined, a lot of failures, followed by some success and all that stuff. So here, and so I was doing this XML. I said, what is going to be the next big thing next to relational databases? Relational databases will continue, but they'll kind of plateau. What is then I said, okay, this what is documents are going to be big, and this is before the machine learning, AI, NLP kind of thing. Documents are going to be big, and the document databases are going to be because structured documents. If you look at documents, the structured, semi-structured, and unstructured documents is going to be big. So, and what is a good format for documents? At that time, SGML. Out of it came XML. So I was tracking XML, and then the internet was just getting up. All these browser wars were going on and all that sort of stuff. I started bookmarking every resource I could find, and I had about like 300 bookmarks. And I said, Bobby, how am I going to track all this stuff? So why can't I just write a script and see, go to the page and see? I don't even know whether it changed since yesterday. So why don't I write a small script to just go to all these pages, snapshot them, and go there next day, snapshot them again, and then compare these two things and highlight all the changes, like what you do with versions of documents. Oh, simple enough idea. So let me do that. And then I got out of programming for some time. So at that time I was not. So I asked a friend of mine, He's like a very senior person, Suleka now. He's a Perl expert, so he wrote a Perl script and said, Dorai, here it is, run. And then I was running it and I was pretty happy with the results. I found out that even though I was tracking 300 bookmarks, only about 30 or 40 of them would actually change each day. So I don't have to look at 300 pages. And it will highlight all the changes. A lot of them were comma, counter hits, how many times the page has been hit, because people would display those counters very proudly in the beginning. Now nobody does that. Um, so all those kinds of comma, period, something would have changed and all. I said, these are all trivial changes we can discard. So I said, okay, then I'm not going to go and look at these 30 changes every time, page by page. So why can't I just, email myself an alert whenever a page changes, and it will send me a summary of these changes. And if anything looks interesting, I'll click and then I'll go and see the full page change kind. So that became the next version. Then I went and visited somebody in Austin and then found that they're working on something very similar. I said, hey, can I buy this technology from you guys? They said, it's not a product yet. I said, okay, get me the raw technology. We started with that. And then we completely trashed it. And then we rewrote everything. When I hired my first, my chief developer, who's a single man army for this product. Even though we had about 7 or 8 people, he did about 90% of the product was done by him completely. So we at the time, a lot of tools that we have today were not there. So it took us a long time. But today, if I have to redo it, it will take me 2 to 3 months to do it. Because there's a diff library in Python, all these kinds of things. So I said, this is a very simple product. I'm going to use it, but why? If I can use it, why can't I give it to other people to see how they can use it? And we gave it away. And then we suddenly found, and I think I told you that story about we posted here and there a couple of places, and suddenly we had like 3,000 users. No, not a single phone call, no Google ad, nothing. So that is the second characteristic, is that you don't even seek out people. This is the kind of thing that attracts the innovators.
It
You just
sells
have to
itself.
like make it known. Like at the time, Beta List was one forum, Mozilla Developers was another forum, and some dude picked it up from this and wrote my favorite tipples one thing, and then suddenly there's a bunch of whole librarians called special librarians. These are all research librarians. They picked it up, and suddenly we had like 3,000 people, and we were saying, "Wow, we never did anything in just like 3,000 users." And suddenly some guy called and said, "Hey, I want a server version," all that stuff. So back to your question, is that it is something that you don't consciously think about a market, research, this kind of thing. You a well-known need of yours, and then that is first thing. But there are three different ways in which it. Now that I've talked about microproducts, thought about it a little bit, and all that sort of stuff, we built a series of them. Right, we'll be launching one by one in the next few quarters. I've been saying that for 1 year, but I think this year we'll launch. There's I'll give you one other example, and then we'll come back and abstract these things, right? Uh, I got onto Twitter on 2007 or something. It's 14 years since I've been on Twitter. And then initially it was all people eating sandwiches and yeah, drinking coffee.
Cat.
And I said, hey, cat pictures. I said, I don't want, got out. Then this attack on Taj happened, and I was in Chicago at that time. And I said, oh my God, there is this terrorist attack in Mumbai. Where can I get the information? I go to CNN, it had some information. Go to Hindu and refresh the page every 2 minutes, nothing. It's like very static. Then I said, the great Google must know something about this stuff. So I Googled it, and the first top three links were all Twitter streams. And then I went and clicked on the Twitter stream, and I found like firehouse of information. Their pictures being posted, people actually said, "Oh, these terrorists drove in a jeep right past us, and we just jumped back," and all that, like full account. And I said, "Man, something is going to change with this tool." So I need to get onto it. And then so I started becoming very active in Twitter and all that. So I was not tweeting much. I was more of a consumer in the initial stages kind of stuff. And then slowly, a lot of things. Twitter was 140 characters. Then it became 180 characters. You have to say @RT to RT. Now we have a user interface for doing that. All that. So I looked at Twitter. It started as a little tool. I mean, it's you can rewrite Twitter. And in fact, you guys did it in. Uh, you had
Foundation.
your own version of Twitter, right?
Yeah, called
Small
Sweets.
development effort. All you had to do was to take 140 characters, edit, post it somewhere, and create a stream, and then on a server and put it out. And said, why does it take the world so much such complicated things to do simple tools, kind of thing. So, but my problem was that I said, whoa, I'm getting a lot of Twitter. I started following people. They started following me back. So I were like 10,000 people that I follow. I've listed 11,000 people following me, but I think only about 300 to 400 people actually read anything that I write. So, but these 10,000 people is too much, and I don't, so I need to segregate them and all that. So I was saying, hey, I can't sit online and keep on reading tweet by tweet because I get distracted and then I go post something. Sometimes I say something stupid.
Mhm.
So I said, I want to do it offline. Is there a tool that will grab tweets and then do it? And then I said, there must be some. I went and searched and I found one called BMTU, back my tweets up. Okay. So I said, okay. And then I got BMTU installed on my machine. And then I was running it. I was tracking all the people I wanted. Mr. Vijay Anand from startup. He used to tweet a lot, kind of thing. And he used to say lots of great things about startup culture, this, that, and all that. And so I started getting these BMTU files now. And then Twitter changed something in the API and broke. BMTU stopped
BMT.
working. Said, okay, let's go and build one. So we built one called Tweet Collector. Then I said, Tweet Collector is good. But I also want to know, given a topic like AI, digital transformation, or who are the experts in this field? How do I find that out? So first of all, what is the vocabulary in the field? Who are the people who are talking about? So it's kind of a constantly discovery, right? So that is the other quality of a microproduct. It starts off with a very, very, very simple. All do is collect tweets. Twitter has an API, otherwise you scrape it. Or otherwise go and do a Google search and then get the tweets from there. One, you don't really care about production engineering and quality. There's some simple tool you're building to so that you don't sit in front of the Twitter client all the time. You just do this, put it in VI, and then I can do pattern searches and I can consume tweets at my own, you know, put in my favorite editor and then look at what I want and I can copy paste tweets and then retweet, do whatever I want. I can follow the links, everything I can do. And so tweet collector, then we said, okay, put a tweet analyzer, a little analyzer that will go and pull out all the hashtags, create a tag cloud. So now I know if I say digital marketing, these are all the hashtags being used. These are the keywords being used. Um, so we were doing a series of these little assistants, collectors and analyzers, collectors and analyzers. So and none of them are more than 2 or 3 months in effort. One person, one junior person initially, but this guy is a great coder. I shouldn't call him junior person because he's as fast as some experienced people. Um, we'll get an idea, and because the other thing is that because your investment is so little, you are not like emotionally attached to the product. If it's crap, just throw it out. If it is good, improve it. If it is broken, rewrite it. If the API changes, boom, take the new API and rewrite it. So all these things that causes extreme anguish to software developers who otherwise love the software and going into maintenance and refactoring and all that kind of thing, all that is gone. So you're like having fun building small products. And if you orchestrate them well, they may even work with each other properly in some cases. For example, all our tweet collector, everything can be saved in CSV, comma separated versions or JSON files. And they are the interoperable media. And then I can feed the JSON file to something else that the analyzer works on. I can feed that to something else, which will generate lists, all that kind of thing. So 15 minutes later, after you ask the question, or 22 minutes later, the bad thing is there are three views. One view is a small developer view. They can just build tools that help them do their work better. They don't care whether anybody else, everybody builds such tools. Nobody publishes them. Thanks to open source, now people have started publishing them. so others can benefit from them. So you just make yourself more productive and help your peers to be more productive. That is one thing. That is no commercial intent. I'm just programming for fun. It is not the best software tool out there. I'm not jostling for some marketing position. I don't care how big the market is. If one guy uses my product, I'll be very happy, other than me. And because I'm a very critical user of the product, I can be very, in fact, I found that all the products I built, I'm the power user. And I demand more out of the product than most of my users do. In fact, whatever product information we put out, people don't even use 20-30% of the features. Of course, that's one of the problems. You over engineer because you think this is great, that let's do that, but nobody uses it that way. And they said, what? That's too complex, I don't want to use it, kind of thing. So what you do is so let us look at it from an organization point of view, because it will make a little bit more sense. Think about a startup or a product group in a company. So from the management point of view, they'll say, hey, do four of these versions of the products, give it to different groups, different countries. Sometimes 3 months, just do it on weekend. The original idea is vetted through a hackathon or weekend. Come up, demonstrate a prototype. I said, okay, this prototype I'm going to fund. Here is the time. You have 1 month to go and build a version, come back, and let's see how it works, kind of stuff. Second thing is that it's a well-known boundary, right? In this particular case, in the case of Twitter, it's collect the tweets, store them somewhere. In the case of InfoMinder, track bookmarks, detect changes, send alerts out there. And in the case of, let's say, tweet analyzer, read the tweets, create a hashtag, tag cloud, mention Stack Cloud as to who are the influencers in there, give me those lists. Everything is very, I mean, you can make that statement in like one sentence. From a marketing point of view, it's something entirely different. So now let us say that we go back to your original scenario that I'm building this big product. And I know it's going to take me time to build this big product. And I want to kind of give a little, I went and talked about the product. A lot of people said, wow, this is very awesome. We would like to have it and all that, except that you don't have it. We do all this concept selling and then the product doesn't exist. So, okay, I'm going to give you do you want to sign up for an early adapter program? And I said, yeah. You can't give them an MVP at that point. Maybe you can do an MVP with a few of them. You give an early adapter program, you say, hey, here is a product that you use. And we'll be building it as a series of these small products. So you tell us what you like, what you don't like. Whatever you don't like, we'll throw it out, and then that kind of thing. And so we built it as a series of micro products, independent, so you're not like stuck in a big organizational structure. And this on an MVP, you'll be surprised how many people have to agree on the scope of the MVP. The scope of the MVP itself is a micro product, in fact, for doing it. Then if you fast forward, you build a few of these tools, and then one of the things you can do is when people, you set up a website and say, to get interest of people, say, oh, I'm interested in this product. Like, for example, I gave a talk in some computers and librarians kind of thing. It's a group I hang out in because of the information products. And I talked about a research assistant. He said, imagine that you have a little tool that you tell it, I want some research done on blockchain in, finance, or, DLT, which is like a distributed ledger technology in contracts. Okay. And it'll go and gather what is it, it'll do a bunch of Google searches, recursively extract keywords, take the most popular keywords and do Google searches again, gather more information. And then now with some of the technologies you have, like NLP technologies and all, create a question answer. This is like, now I'm kind of going like blue sky stuff, but question, do an NLP and question answers. And then, so the research bot, I'll say, hey, what did you find out today about utility? Oh, do you know that organization X is using it for Y, and that kind of stuff. And so I can ask, so what are the most commonly asked questions about it? What are the what are the pain points in this? And say, oh, according to these tweets and or according to these Quora messages, people want to know the security of this thing and the performance and all that kind of thing. So you start getting a tool that is just doing, it's not intelligent. Let me be very careful when I talk about it. It's a little smarter in the sense that all it is doing is taking a document, saying, hey, what are the topics in this document? That technology is not there yet. I'm constantly disappointed by the technology I find. But let us say what is called topic extraction. And then you go to this topic extraction and then go and do more searches on the topics, gather more data, and then come back and start accumulating a little library for you. And then you can look through the headlines, look at the popular, who are the people who wrote it, read about it, and or even create even a tag cloud or vocabulary and say, oh, that looks interesting. What about the intersection of this plus this? And you can do that, right? I talked about this product and everybody said, hey, we would like to have, we would like to be in the beta. Who wouldn't? It will cut down so much of work for doing it. So if I'm going to build this product, which we are, because it's all made out of these elements like this, I have to keep giving them something saying that, hey, topics from Twitter, here is the product. You specify the topic, we'll find all the tweets, we'll find out all the people who are tweeting about, we'll find all the lists where this is being talked about, we'll find out all the hashtags attached with it or keywords or key terms, and we'll give you that, and I will constantly keep updating it. One time, any human being can do it themselves, but constantly I can do it every week, every month, kind of thing. To me, it is no more effort than running the same thing again and again and again, just accumulating the data and then analyzing it and giving you back the information. So it turns out to be a lead magnet. That is, I've now given my user something useful and they didn't pay anything for it. They don't have to use it. I don't have to shed tears that, this product is not being used at all, kind of thing. My user might have thought, this is what I'm going to get out of it, and I thought this is what I'm going to give him. And the things that Venn diagram, they may not intersect, or they may totally intersect. In which case, they may be exactly the same circles. In which case, perfect. But even if there is an overlap, then there are conversations that you can have. So micro products are conversation starters, right? And these are not conversations that you are starting to validate your hypothesis. These are conversations started because the product exists, just like every other industry. Like when smartphones became available, everybody thought they're going to use it as a phone. How many use it as a phone today? 90% use it for WhatsApp or watching videos or whatever their favorite pastime is, kind of thing. It's no longer, it's like a mini computer or a micro nano computer in your hand. With use it for 90% of what you do in laptop. Only thing is it doesn't have a good keyboard, so you can't program
Right.
in it, do any of those things. So what happens is this ability to discover new uses is another one of those characters. So starting out, it is very different. To me, the most attractive thing is 3 months elapsed time. I have something, I can give it to users, I can find out, and all I have to do is just talk about it in a couple of forums like product hunt, beta list, whatever. And people are interested. If can I get 1,000 people come and show interest, out of which 100 people will actually use it, or 50 people will actually use it and give me some feedback for the next version. And these 50 people will tell 50 other people, I'm done. Like I have no great, that kind of stuff. And if it generates revenues, even better. Like that's a.
Nirvana.
But it's taking me in the direction in which I want to build bigger product. So then that's one view. But there is one called Bingo Card Creator. Can you believe that it's a multi-million-dollar product? This guy comes and talks about it in every one of these there is this conference called Micro Conference, MICROCONF. It's organized by this guy who wrote this book on start small, stay small kind of thing. You don't have to stay small. At least you can start small. And micro conferences were full of such products. People come and talk about their products, and everybody says, "Oh, that's cool. This is cool. Let's connect these things together. Do bundles." And this was one thing we used to do when Microsoft created Visual Basic. We had this component market. we used to do component bundles where non-competing products we bundle together and deliver to user at a lower cost. And Microproducts will make that happen. If you don't need to really great design, just have to accept some standard input format, standard output format. Now it has become JSON or XML or whatever you want. Then you can glue together a bunch of components, and some of them are not your components, and you provide this what is called the total product in some cases to take care of it. So,
Can I ask a
it's
question?
kind of sorry. Go ahead.
So I think this is very nice. I have one question. Somewhere you said this, and I was it attracted my attention. You said you should be able to define your product in one sentence.
Yeah.
Can you give some? How do you expand on that? Like info minder, or how will you describe it in one sentence?
Yeah. So I'll go slightly more liberal and say if you can do it in a tweet, it's also okay, including a link. But one sentence is reasonably short, right?
So if you had to do that for info minder, how will you describe it?
Yeah, I'll simply say track your competition with one click. Or I would say keep track of emerging technologies.
Or keep track of your bookmarks.
Yeah, keep track of our bookmarks may give us slightly different things.
They might go to delicious or something like that.
No, they may think they are delicious, correct, and shareable bookmarks and all that. So in fact, one version of InfoMinder we licensed to one company was called active bookmarks. So you have passive bookmarks that don't do any work, sit there and wait for you to do something. Active bookmarks are just going and tracking changes and all that sort of stuff. And so that is one way to do it. But there is, in fact, the way I did it was I went to a thing and I did a conversation. It's not one sentence. I said, what do you do? How many competitors do you have? And he said, oh, seven primary and about 18 secondary and all that. I said, how do you track all of them? He looked at me. I go to their websites, of course. I said, how do you know it has changed? How frequently do you go? How many pages do you visit? He said, do you have a product for that? I said, yeah, that's our product. And you ask this question sometimes, so you simply say, because you define it by the kind of problem that the user faces. I said, how do you generate leads? So one of our customers tracks RFPs. In fact, not one, about 10, 15 of customers track RFPs. Some of them are healthcare companies, take RFPs for all government hospitals because of, information should be open, available, everything should be available on the website. But there are 100 documents put on the website, PDFs that you have to download. There is one lady who would every day go and look at all these documents and easily lose one. They use InfoMinder. It'll just come and say these are 5 new documents uploaded today, and they just download those 5 documents and then see whether any of them fit their need. We can go to one step further and say this document contains these keywords which may be of interest to your product, and get an alert based on that. They've been using it for 20 years.
Wow.
And this guy has 17 chemical factories around the world. One person used to struggle to, because they also have these emission standards and that kind of stuff. But, they have to keep track of all that. They have to be compliant and all that sort of stuff. So it's like a Swiss Army knife, right? And also these microproducts turn out to be that way because they're not domain specific. You could be domain specific. There's nothing wrong with that. But the ones we build are, because we are software tools background, we build everything like,
horizontal.
So they get used in a wide variety of things, and then we go pick an area where they're most popular and then try to sell more.
So it seems to me, if I can summarize that segment, you either have a one sentence description or you answer one key question or a problem.
Correct. We can work on a one. So the way most of the competitors do it is that how do you know your website is hacked? Here is a tool that can help you to do it. It's 2 sentences, but the spirit of monitor your website continuously. We monitor your website continuously so you don't have to. I mean, now you're getting into a marketing language, which I'm not good at, but you see this thing.
Yeah.
So the goal of that one question is to evoke
Curious.
curiosity.
Yeah.
And then say, and then what? They have to ask you that question. So even in a elevator pitch conversation, you don't compress your entire thing into like a one sentence or 3 minute pitch or something, but then you're given away the store. All you have to do is you say enough to get them interested so that when you get out of the elevator, they don't want to walk into the office, but they want to stand next to you and ask you some more questions. So
So how do you measure the success of your micro product? Because to start with, the ambition seems to be not big. So how do I know that I'm doing well or not doing well? Is it like,
so it varies, right? At different stages. Even for a startup product success, in the first 18 months till you achieve your liftoff, right? Your thing is, am I growing at a certain rate? Am I getting customers at a certain rate? Is it being used? For me, for a micro product, it's the amount of use. How much are people using it? Is a single metric of success. People are not using it enough every day, then it's not a must-have product, right? It's a nice-to-have product.
daily active users, DAU?
Yeah. No, yeah, daily active users takes it into count. I'm saying that daily active use.
Daily active use. Okay.
Yeah, so that is one metric of success. Second thing is, will they tell other people about it? How many people are they willing to tell about it excitedly saying, hey, I found this tool that does this for me? Unfortunately for InfoMinder, that's pretty bad. You know why? I asked him, why don't you tell all the people in the organization? He said, no. The people don't know why I'm so smart. They don't know I'm using this tool to find
Oh,
all the
it's like your
information.
secret superpower.
Every meeting I pop up with lots of new information about companies. And why did you get that? Why did you get that? Because they all put Google alerts and wait and nothing really happens. And he said, oh, I have a tool that I don't want to talk. I said, you just killed my market for doing this kind of thing.
You're
So
so good that they want to keep it a secret.
keep it to themselves. And they don't have to pay too much also. So that is the other problem that comes from that.
So you still support this InfoMinder tool?
Sorry?
You still sell this InfoMinder tool?
Yeah, yeah. Next February it will be 20 years. We are thinking of retiring it, but we're thinking of retiring it. But as long as it gets us more money than it costs us, there is zero support cost, zero
Marketing.
development cost. There's nobody in the team with us anymore. It just keeps running. It's hosted on some VPS, like virtual private servers, cloud. Or actually, this one is a dedicated server. Costs us about like $1,500 per year for this. And since none of us spend any money on it, whatever money comes out, and we get a lot of other things like consulting, this, that, and all, lots of other conversations. So there is a direct product. There are periods of time when I was telling you, I think before, like, each customer used to pay like $20,000 every year for about 15
Custom
years.
versions.
People used to buy server versions for $5,000 to $10,000 and all that stuff. So I keep describing myself as a lifestyle company, right? So I'm saying, okay, that I really want to shut it because people say, hey, either you take it up the value chain and make a lot of money or just be done with it. Yeah. Why? But every time it goes down one day for some silly reason. And the reason may not be our product or so there is some new IT dude comes and blocks something or they track something and that has got some bad word in it and it goes into spam folder, the alerts. These guys are yelling and screaming saying we didn't receive alerts and all. I said, Baba, you're paying us like $30 a year for tracking 100 pages. And why all this first kind of stuff? And the high end of the customers pay much more. But when I see that, and I said, I don't feel like taking it away from them. As long as it is providing some service.
Yeah, why break
And
it?
now we are building a bunch of apps on top of InfoMinder. So we'll make it like a little platform.
When you say
Because
we, is this your new firm or is this who is we here?
it's me, I'm off with a couple of people, that couple of people keep changing. My partner He's a guy who worked on it and he still helps. He's the core developer. So once in a while he'll say, okay, I'll sit on weekend and I'll add these one or two features kind of thing. Nothing much to add. Um, so my current developer does some things like websites, we are integrating into info assistants. We're trying to build some applications on top of it and all that sort of stuff. I suddenly woke up. What I did was I built this product, threw it into the web, and went off to do my consulting work, which was much more remunerative, right? So I was doing all this kind of stuff. So
This is sort of like your what they call as a passive income stream.
yeah, some passive income, and you can generate a lot of. That is the other thing. Each microproduct can generate a passive income. There are companies that have made millions of dollars with it. There are companies that are like saying, "Hey, instead of me going to work, I work only some 2-3 hours a week, and it gives me the same amount of money as I get." That,
Brilliant.
all right. In the US, somewhere he's sitting in Utah, $5,000 per month revenue. The guy is doing, writing a few blog posts, and that's it. And then it's growing, and I said, okay, fine. Most of these are not funded. They don't want any hassles because VCs won't fund unless the company is a billion-dollar company.
Yep.
They have to give return to their partners, right? So
Absolutely. So it's like another 15 minutes left. One final question for you.
okay.
How do I come up with these micro product ideas? Have you developed any methodology? Is it
Actually, it's kind of intuitive, if you are in a certain space, right? You just, okay, I'll give you this methodology. It may or may not work, but it works for me. So it's worth trying. What you can do is, do you keep an idea log? Like a log of all ideas that you get?
kind of not formally, but yeah, I do.
Okay, now you don't have to keep a book, right? But book has some certain advantages. You
I
keep a
store it
notebook.
in my notepad on my smartphone.
Yeah, that's no, but keep it in some permanent space. It could be a Google document. It's
Like a
Google Keep.
Notion space or something.
Google Keep. What you do is you do this experiment for 30 days. You say every day I'm going to come up with one problem or one solution. I'm going to just find the most trivial, and it may have nothing to do with the field you are in, no digital transformation stuff, nothing. It just says, the walk from the bus stand to my office is too long, could be one problem. I said that I teach these students, but I'm never able to get more than 10% of them interested in listening to my lecture. Could be another problem. It's a big problem. But it could be, just write down problems or solutions, whatever you want. So you can say, here is the problem. I face it, or somebody I know face it, because you need to have a person whom you can go and talk to. If you face it, that is the best
Yes.
because you have all the information you want.
Scratch your own itch type of thing.
Yeah, scratch your own itch. And then I said, these are 3 or 4 possible solutions. Okay. Then what you do is don't do anything, just write up ideas. Don't dig deep. So I said, my morning, if you are doing a morning journaling or something, this is the first entry in my journal. One thought, one problem that I thought about yesterday, you put it there, or put it whenever you want. You carry a Evernote with your phone, and you can, whenever you get that problem, also you can write it down. Okay. Why are our buses so dirty? Is there a product that can clean the buses? Okay, and the buses are not flying, or even when they are flying. Are there things that you can do? Like people put their elbow out of the bus. 2 buses go very close by one elbow one. Are there things that can automatically blink a light? Driver has to yell. So you pick any problem you want, right? Just write it down because all ideas start out as you need a lot of ideas to get a few good ideas, and you need a lot of good ideas to get a great idea. So don't worry about great idea. Don't worry about perfection. So you take these ideas and see which ones are you really, really passionate about. Like I'm passionate about anything that helps people learn faster. I'm curious about how people work. What is the thinking process? Why did they come up with this solution? Why not the other solution? When I look at it, I get something. When the other person looks at it, they come with something entirely different. Both are valid, but they have very different value propositions, that kind of thing. And so So curious about the human mind, right? So based on where your attention or curiosity is, in that space you just right now for me, edtech and emerging tech for two reasons. EdTech, I think, is fundamentally will change. Will use all this great technology, but it should be completely out of the way to improve engagement and improve learning. And emerging tech is the one that is going to take the world to the next few steps, whatever that is going to be. And I'll restrict to emerging tech of areas that I know, for example, AR, VR, AI, that kind of stuff, with the enough to deal with kind of thing. So what are all the problems in this space? Every problem that I can think of. Then I can actively go looking for others' problems. See whether the problem I have, the others have also. Then I'll go and take my problem and write a solution, one paragraph. Go Google that paragraph, paste that paragraph, and whether Google comes up with products in that space. Okay. And then I'll go and look for places like Product Hunt and Beta List to see if somebody else also thinking about such problems. That's why they're creating products and putting it in Product Hunt. I'll look at all the crowdfunding sites to see why are they coming up with these ideas. So you start gathering, like a
market intelligence.
Yeah, a whole bunch of things, and then you filter out all the things you are not interested in. So it is the ikigai stuff, right? I'm competent in doing it. I'm interested in doing it, and this is my weekend hobby. Or I'm competent in doing it. I'm interested in doing it. Somebody will pay me for it. This is my business or my alternative life, work life to work life, for example. And then what is the minimum that demonstrates the capability of this product? That's your microproduct. And the way you have to ask minimum is, can I do it in 1 week's time? Can I do it in there's a book
3
called
months.
7 Days Startup. Yeah. Huh?
You said 3 months. 3 months
3
I should
months.
be able to build it.
3 months to find your first few customers.
Okay, great.
Not to build the product.
So 3 months to find the customers. Okay.
Yeah, to find some users, whether customer or not.
Okay, so one last question.
Yeah.
What is your closing, if you want to inspire people further into this way of thinking? Anything that we have not covered so far?
No, I think basically start small. I mean, think big, of course, but start small and look at anybody who has succeeded. Microsoft started with a basic
compiler, yeah. Interpreter.
Operating system was not even in their portfolio. They got into it accidentally because digital research founders screwed up, with IBM, and IBM told Bill Gates, we don't care how you get it, get us an operating system, and he got it, right? So look at how Facebook started. It was some, hot or not, or some little app to create knowledge. Yeah. So, it may not be anywhere in your this thing. First of all, I think learn to build. Don't depend on anybody else. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a hardcore coder. You can do scripting languages. You can use all these no-code, low-code tools. Do whatever. Build something, and the joy of building itself. And then when something you build something useful, and when you build something useful that is being used by somebody else, that joy is boundless, right? Like I said, wow. And that is the motivating force that will keep you going, kind of thing. After that, nobody needs to go. And the learning you get out of this is just phenomenal. You learn about users, you learn about, how imperfect you are in your original thinking and consecutive steps of thinking, kind of thing, how incrementally you can improve, and keep the expectations low. I mean, you don't expect to become a multimillionaire with your first product. And you don't get stuck to an idea, kind of. It's better to focus on somebody's problem and finding a solution to the problem. One of them could be yours, but you should be willing to say, I want to solve the problem in a different way, and I'm going to build a different product, kind of thing. Keep the expectations low.
Very nice, Dorai. I think we ran out of time. Now I need to figure out a way to edit this down to 10 minutes.
No, you can cut out all the history that I think 50% of it will go.
Yeah, I need to edit it such that I don't lose the essence of your
Yeah.
idea of it's very inspiring. What can I say? Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for giving us this gospel of a new way of thinking. And like I said, you have been one of the most generous people that I have seen with respect to
Okay.
sharing ideas and knowledge, and more importantly, time, right, which is a precious commodity.
I know I enjoy conversations with people, right? It's always fun. Of course, I say I enjoy conversations and I end up doing monologues, but this interview at least is set up for
Yeah, I
that.
mean,
You
in
ask
fact, I'll
questions.
be editing out my pieces anyway. So I was just using that to just provoke your
Yeah,
comments.
but
So,
I enjoy doing it. So, I mean, any forum where there is interaction, I like. Not people
yeah, I know
passing to
you're
listen,
big on unconferences and all
where
kinds of
audience are the
participative things.
yeah, participative things because it's more fun, right? You get to listen to a lot of different people. See, every question you ask, like, I'm going to go and write up some stuff, right? And in fact, this morning I got up and said, what am I going to talk to Kumar? And then I wrote up like a small document, like less than 100 words, on how to look at it from different things. And I'll share it with you on a Google document.
Yeah,
You can
please.
take a look at
Yeah.
it, right?
So I'll publish this in the next few days. Let me hope that it's.
So, do
Uh,
you want to look at your this Slack problem now?
I have a 3 o'clock call with my
Okay,
clients, but yeah,
okay.
there is still 5 minutes. Let me just
So
end
no,
this
the
recording.
thing that I don't understand is I am as an admin.